This is dedicated to the niggas that was down from day one. Welcome to Death Row.
Like we always do about this time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to... Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to October. Today, I will be reacting to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 most disturbing Reddit accounts created by Chilling Scare. There's no video be in the description. Let's get straight into it. Happy October, everybody. Month of chills, fears, and milk. Okay, let's go.
A rather concerning post was uploaded to Reddit titled, "Found cry for help on Reddit from Thai factory worker."
Hope everybody's doing well, by the way.
To the comments left by
Sorry
a
for
user
sniffling. I know
named
y'all hate it when I do that.
Fujitagaikin001 on seemingly random threads. There were 44 comments in total, with the
I
first
got a
one
Reddit. If y'all want to join the Reddit, it's
in
my bio thingy on my channel.
And with a single exception,
nobody's
all
in it so
contained
far.
the
I'm not
same
popular.
words. "I face too serious problem of human rights at Fujitagaikin, Thailand. Please help me."
Shut up, nigga.
Searching for Fujitagaikin, Thailand on Google leads to a factory of the same name. And while the factory is located in Thailand, the company that oversees its operations is Japanese. So, from the looks of things, these comments were likely pleas for help from someone who had to work in horrible conditions at this factory, possibly even against their will. Which sounds a bit absurd at first, but is actually quite plausible.
You see,
Thailand has a major modern-day slavery problem, primarily in its fishing industry, but can also extend to other industries as well, with over 400,000 people being forced to work for little to no compensation.
Damn, that nigga's skinny.
Additionally, Japan is also notorious for what's known as its black companies, which force employees into exploitative, sweatshop-like environments with unpaid overtime and harsh working conditions. Given these issues, it's not unreasonable to imagine a Japanese worker getting stuck working at a factory in Thailand with no escape in sight, and all they were able to do is beg for help on the internet. They were likely not proficient in English, which would explain the grammar mistakes. Also, the vast majority of comments they left were on the most mainstream subreddits, like pics, GIFs, space, gaming, and some others, suggesting they likely weren't familiar with Reddit either, and might have just clicked on the top subreddits they came across and commented on the first post they saw. However,
going to Reddit to get some help
starts breaking down.
It's kind of crazy.
Despite many people offering advice and trying to help, Fujitagaikin001 never responded, neither in the comments nor in DMs. This led many to believe that these comments were nothing more than spam from a bot, which obviously isn't an uncommon sight on social platforms like Reddit. However, many argue that explanation doesn't hold much weight here, mainly because in one instance, Fujitagaikin001 posted the comment twice on the same thread, something they hadn't done in any post before or since. A bot would almost never make such a mistake, suggesting it might have been human error. On top of that, while 44 comments are a lot for a person, they are a tiny amount for spam bots that can post hundreds, if not thousands of comments in a matter of seconds. Not to mention the fact that Fujitagaikin001's comments were posted over the span of 4 days, with seemingly random intervals between each comment. Put simply, these comments were almost certainly posted by a person. So, what's really going on here? Were these comments really cries for help from someone stuck in an unfortunate, exploitative situation? Well, it's hard to say. From what I was able to find on Fujitagaikin, there doesn't seem to be any indications of shady activity going on behind the scenes. After Fujitagaikin001's story caught some attention, several people reported the company to organizations like Amnesty International. But the company is still operational to this day, and I didn't find any news coverage of anything bad being discovered at their factory in Thailand. It does have a few dozen negative reviews on Google, but almost all of them were posted after Fujitagaikin001's comment became popular on Reddit. One possible theory is that these comments were posted by a troll or a competitor with the express goal of tarnishing Fujitagaikin's reputation. However, there's currently no evidence that supports or contradicts this theory. The most likely explanation that I was able to come up with stems from the only comment Fujitagaikin001 made that strayed from the usual pattern. Translated into English, it reads, Fuji Tagaikin, I'm being subjected to power harassment in Thailand. The power harassment mentioned in this comment is a specific Japanese term used to
Power harass. Hey, don't worry. I'm gonna read to the audience. Power harassment is a form of harassment and workplace bullying in which someone in a position greater power uses that power unjustifiably against a lower-ranking person, typically just for a display of dominance.
describe workplace bullying, usually by a superior. And while it
Niggas
is
get
bad,
bullied in
it's
the
not as
workplace.
extreme as the slavery situation many on the internet assumed it to
Slap
be.
that nigga.
Here's what I believe might have happened. A Japanese employee working at Fuji Tagaikin's Thai factory was likely getting harassed by one of their superiors. Frustrated with their situation, they turned to the internet for help. But since they weren't fluent in English, they used a tool like Google Translate, which unfortunately made their comments sound far more serious than intended. Now, this is still nothing more than an educated guess. There are still many questions that remain unanswered, like why did they choose to spam it across largely unrelated subreddits? Or why did they stop commenting after 4 days? People on Reddit also discovered another one of their accounts named help001001001 with similar comments, but that didn't provide any useful clues either, leaving the true intentions of Reddit user Fuji Tagaikin 001 a mystery to this day.
Interesting. Reddit
On October
post.
27th, 2019, a newly created Reddit account named Snapped Fingers made a post on r/advice looking for help with his deteriorating mental condition, stating,
Oh man.
seeing and hearing things that aren't there. Lately I have been seeing and hearing things that aren't there even more than normal. Most of the time it's small things like seeing spiders on me in my peripheral vision only to look at them and they disappear. Other times when I'm in bed, this thing about the thickness of a big fist pops up like a big snake on the side of my bed and looks at me only to dart back down out of sight. Whenever I investigate, nothing is there. Rarely, there's full body visual hallucinations. The last one was from a couple years ago when I was taking out the garbage. The silhouette of a child crunched down on all fours charged me only to disappear when I looked at it. And before that, there was a large, fleshy, naked, featureless figure slowly walking on all fours in the room down the hall, approximately the average size of a man.
Hidden.
The OP then went on to describe how he'd had similar audio-visual hallucinations since he was a child, and how the situation was getting worse as of late. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to have anyone in his life he could rely on. According to the OP, his relatives dismissed his condition as something supernatural, and his friends, quote, kicked him to the curb, suggesting he might have had a falling out with them.
Damn.
The OP also described his reasoning for not getting a medical diagnosis, as to him it felt like the doctors were treating him like a science experiment. This post alone painted Snapped Fingers as a deeply troubled person who is likely suffering from severe schizophrenia and possibly other mental illnesses as well. However, this was just the beginning of the deeply disturbing spiral he would eventually descend into, starting from his very next post on r/confessions titled, "Saw someone get run over by a train and didn't feel anything." Things drifted from mental hallucinations to physical harm from that point on, with Snapped Fingers asking, "If I bite off my own finger, could it be reattached or attached somewhere else?"
I don't think it would be. Isn't it true that you can't bite your own finger off because, like, you know, like when you bite your finger, the signal goes to your brain because of the pain and like it stops that. You know?
He also shared a story of a painful experience he had to go through because of his condition, reading, "In 2008, I stuck a power drill into my arm. Sometime back in 2008, I was putting together a shelf when this large black mass came out of nowhere and engulfed my unoccupied arm. I didn't see it till it was right up on me. It scared me so badly, and it was coming up from my arm for my face. So I started jamming the drill into it. On the second strike, I hit my arm and the hallucination dissipated." Concerned users once again urged the OP to seek medical help, but he declined it once again, stating that he didn't want to end up in a mental asylum or become an experiment for doctors again. However, while he rejected most of the normal advice under this post, the one comment he agreed with suggested a fairly absurd explanation for OP's situation, suggesting that maybe the OP could see into another dimension. This was odd, considering his earlier reservations about the clearly untrue supernatural beliefs of his relatives.
Niggas doing witchcraft.
But for some unknown reason, this one comment struck a chord with him, resulting in him spiraling out of control and eventually adopting the belief that his hallucinations were caused by some interdimensional beings. Much of this new belief was fueled by
That's so crazy how people like put out theories or explanations and then niggas just take it and run with it. Like for this example, somebody told him like, "Oh, maybe you seeing dimensions," and he just took that and just ran with it. It's kind of
Or
crazy.
outright delusional individuals he befriended on platforms like Discord. But in Snapped Fingers' broken, mentally ill mind, he'd finally found the truth. So he began inquiring about how to deal with these so-called interdimensional beings, what was the best way to banish them, and what he had to sacrifice to make these beings leave him alone.
What the fuck?
Now,
I
it's
told y'all,
unclear
bro,
if people
this is
giving him these
witchcraft,
ideas
nigga.
genuinely believed what they were saying, or if they were just trolls who were taking advantage of OP's mental illness to see how far they could push him. Regardless of their intentions, however, the end result was the spiraling of a vulnerable young man who now believed that there were, quote, interdimensional hell portals in the Paris catacombs, and that his duty was to close said portals. He even started denying having schizophrenia in favor of this false belief. To make matters worse, Snapped Fingers actually ended up traveling to Paris in May of 2020 to achieve his newfound goal, and apparently stole a car to do so.
Run him over.
On the
No, I'm
5th of
joking.
May, he
Don't do
made
that.
one final post before entering the catacombs,
Hold on, how
stating,
many points would
"We'll
that
be entering the catacombs
No, I'm
in a
joking.
few hours-ish." Before,
It's a
someone had
prank.
asked about a time frame for when I'll post an update, and while I don't know how big the catacombs are, my guess is maybe a day or two before my return with videos. I've
isn't
taken
there a
some test
movie,
footage while I was kind of inside.
What the fuck is a catacombs? Ain't those tunnels in Paris? Because there's a movie. I think there's a movie about that. If y'all ever like seen like those movies that's like the POV is like through the camera only. Like if you seen like Blair Witch or Project X or The Chronicle, with the one with Michael B. Jordan, the younger Michael B. Jordan, like a movie like that. I think they like movies like that's filmed like that. I think they have a movie and it takes place in Paris. And yeah, those yeah, I just looked it up. Above. This is the name of the movie. It's called As Above, So Below. So basically, it takes place in those catacombs of Paris. So if y'all know what the catacombs is, it's basically tunnel ways and spooky shit underneath Paris. But yeah, y'all should check it out if y'all ain't seen that movie.
The quality honestly isn't that
What's it
great,
available on?
but it's
I don't know.
alright.
Look it up.
To make up
Fuck
for the
I look
quality
like.
of the video, I will take more footage while I'm down there. However, the update never came, leading many to believe that the OP had likely gotten lost and passed away from exhaustion or
Nigga dead.
dehydration inside the catacombs. For those who don't know, the Paris catacombs stretch over 186 miles, or 300 kilometers, most of which is completely unexplored. Entering these unknown sections is pretty much a death sentence for even experts on the location, let alone a complete rookie like the OP. But to everyone's surprise, Snapped Fingers actually made a comeback almost 2 years later in May of 2022. It seemed he somehow successfully found his way into the catacombs, explored them for a while,
Shout out
and then
that
managed to
nigga.
find his way back.
How many Lunchables
He made a
did you
post
bring with
admitting
you?
that there were no portals or anything of that nature in there, followed by a final post meant to give everyone invested in his story some closure. And while he didn't go into details of what happened after he entered the catacombs, he did seem to be on the right path, stating, "Without going into much detail, I am not dead, and even though things are not perfect, I am always improving despite minor hiccups here and there. But as I said before, I intend to distance myself from this and will take the necessary steps to achieve that in order to return to normality." His account, which is now deleted, stood as a disturbing showcase of the delusions of a mentally ill man that almost led him to his own death in the Paris catacombs.
Can you post
Hopefully he was
pictures
able to
on
get the help he
Reddit?
needed and is doing much better in life.
Because you would think if he's going through like crazy stuff, he would post some kind of pictures or
April
evidence.
Bever
I'm not
was a
saying he
45-year-old
wasn't.
woman who lived in the
but
city
I'm
of
just
Broken
saying,
Arrow,
you know,
Oklahoma,
where's
with
the
her
evidence
husband,
at?
45-year-old David Bever, and their 7 children.
My goodness,
April
7?
was the primary caretaker of her family, as well as the teacher for her homeschooled children. In addition to this, she also liked browsing Reddit, where she went by the name of Aoki Mom. Given her otherwise busy lifestyle, Reddit was one place where she could talk to other like-minded people and make new connections. Though many of her posts revolved around the love she had for her children. On a post discussing the financial benefits of not having any kids, April wrote, "I have 7 children and we have always lived on one income and have never had any government assistance or needed it. We have a 4,700 square foot house, 2 newer cars, and my kids do not do without. There are childless people that do not have this. Life is about making good job or income choices and then making the best money choices based on your income. I would
Facts.
never give up having any of my children so I could
Kinda.
have more money.
We ball,
They
nigga,
are
I'm
amazing
spinning
people
bread.
and the world would benefit by having them in it. And nothing I could buy or invest in could compare to giving a person a chance to have a life. Put simply, there was nothing April treasured more than her family. Sadly, her time with this family was cut short in 2015 in what would later be remembered as one of the greatest tragedies of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. On July 22nd, 2015,
hold on. That nigga said one of the greatest tragedies. I don't think that's the word. I think the word is most infamous tragedy.
This department received a 911 call from 12-year-old Daniel Bever, April and David's third son.
Hey, young Sheldon.
Broken Arrow 911. Hello?
Oh,
Hi, where are you at?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma 7411.
What address?
709 Magnolia Court.
Okay. Are you the only one there?
No, my brother's attacking my family.
Your dad is attacking your family?
No, my brother. He has an idea stealing me.
The call ended shortly after, and any subsequent attempts from the police to contact the family were unsuccessful. Officers rushed to the scene as quickly as they could. When they reached the Bever house, the front door was locked, so they forced their way in. However, nothing could have prepared them for the massacre they were about to witness on the other side of that door. The first person officers found was 13-year-old Crystal, lying in the hallway in a pool of her own blood.
Damn.
She'd been stabbed multiple times, including a slash across her throat. Despite her injuries, however, she was conscious and managed to tell the officers that her two older brothers, 18-year-old Robert and 16-year-old Michael, were the ones responsible for everything. Further inside the home, officers found the remains of the rest of the family, all with dozens of stab wounds. April was in especially rough shape, with a later autopsy report confirming over 48 wounds on her body.
Damn!
The only one left unharmed was the youngest, 2-year-old Autumn. However, Robert and Michael were nowhere to be seen. Fortunately, investigators were quick to determine that they might have escaped from the back door, and it wasn't long before the two were located and subsequently arrested, hiding in the woods behind their home. When asked about it, Robert said that he was proud of what he had done. Later interrogation also revealed their motive, which boiled down to imitating the actions of other mass murderers they had read about on the internet. They wanted to start with their own family and then leave a trail of blood across many states. Fortunately, they were caught before they could execute this plan completely.
Oh, goddamn, bro. This shit is dark. Like, I can't even joke about this. Like, bro, this shit is sad. What two fucking dickheads, bro.
And were found guilty on the charges filed against them. Michael was sentenced to 5 consecutive life sentences, while Robert was given 9 for being the primary mastermind behind the crime. Aoki Mom's Reddit account and subsequent posts are now left abandoned, seen in a much more disturbing light following the massacre that took place over a decade earlier.
Damn, recipes of those family members that passed away.
On the 7th of August 2015, Reddit user Is There Life After Lyme made a post in the Lyme disease subreddit recounting her terrible experience with the ailment, writing, "Lyme disease has ruined my life. I was diagnosed by an LLMD last year with congenital Lyme disease, as well as several..."
Whoa, congenital? You got shit in your genitals? What's Lyme disease? What is Lyme disease?
Lyme disease, also known as Lyme borreliosis, is a tick-borne disease caused by species of Borrelia bacteria, transmitted by blood-feeding ticks in the genus Ixodes. Do you want me to keep reading?
No, I don't want you to keep reading it with your sexy ass. So basically, Lyme disease comes from ticks.
Infections after several years of suffering with horrible brain fog, depression, vision problems, and memory loss. I was so happy to finally get a diagnosis. Since then, I have been getting treated, but I have not gotten any better at all. I am a single working mother, and between visits to my LLMD and the formulas I buy from her and paying for things for my child, I am struggling to stay afloat. I do not have health insurance, and it's getting to the point where I'm looking into food stamps. My LLMD tells me that I will get worse if I stop the treatments now because the bacteria are smart. There are no other LLMDs in my area, so I can't go for a second opinion, and it's useless to go to a traditional doctor where I'll just be laughed at.
Damn.
I feel like I've tried everything and nothing has worked. I've even begun to see signs of congenital Lyme disease in my 5-year-old daughter. The hostility, the impulsiveness, the inability to concentrate. I simply can't afford to get her treated for Lyme. I've even asked myself if I should give her up for adoption and if I'm fit to be a mother with my mind the way it is. I just don't know what to do. Lyme disease has ruined my life. It ended my first marriage and estranged me from my ex. I guess my main question is, where do I go from here? What do I do if I'm not getting better? How could I pay for treatment without going broke and having to apply for food stamps? And if all this wasn't bad
Yo,
enough, in a comment under this
I
post,
need
she
help.
also
There was
revealed
so
that her
many things I wanted
LLMD
to
was
say
also
right
strictly
there,
against
but
antibiotics and only prescribed
nah,
herbal
that's not
formulas.
funny.
Not only
That's
were these
really sad.
expensive herbal treatments largely ineffective in treating the core issue, they were actively harming her, with one of these prescriptions causing hallucinations and psychosis, as well as physical symptoms like an upset stomach. From what she revealed in this post, OP's life seemed truly hopeless. However,
Bruh.
something about her story didn't feel right.
It's so
The
crazy.
symptoms she
It's so crazy how us as humans, like, we think like we're big and tough and strong. But it's like, nigga, we could die from anything. A fucking tick, like, bro, can you even see a tick? Like, have y'all ever seen a tick? Like, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna see a tick through like the microscope thing. Like, something like that can kill you. Bacteria can kill you. A fucking mosquito can kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy. Like, anything could kill us, bro. Like, the littlest thing on this planet could kill us. You know, nigga, like, bro, like, I understand a tiger, shark, something like that, but the littlest thing could kill you, which is crazy. It's crazy.
described weren't in line with the most common symptoms of Lyme disease. More importantly, she herself admitted that all of her Lyme disease tests were actually negative, and that her entire diagnosis and by extension treatment was based on a single test that came back inconclusive. Either her LLMD was taking advantage of her, or she was lying about her life to gain sympathy from other Redditors. In either case, something was very wrong. Despite the growing
I don't believe that she was lying to get sympathy, because usually when people do that shit, they don't really do that. I mean, people do it for attention, but also they do it for money. Like, say, like, if she did this on Facebook and posted a GoFundMe, you know, and then I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm saying, like, if she was to lie, you know, people usually do this for some type of money to abuse people's sympathy and stuff like that.
skepticism, however, is their Life After Lyme kept posting about Lyme disease and other related subjects.
Lyme disease bring
Then,
out the
in
quacks.
September
What the hell? You
21st,
gonna
she
turn
made a
into
post that shed further light on her
goose?
condition, more specifically how it
funny, I'm
related to her
sorry.
deteriorating mental state. In it, she recounted a psychotic episode she experienced at the grocery store earlier that week, where voices were screaming at her to buy specific things or they would hurt her.
Oh, shit.
Most users who saw the post urged her to seek professional help, which would have likely helped her get her life in order. Surprisingly, she agreed with these suggestions, promised to admit herself into a psych ward, and stopped posting entirely. Unfortunately, by the time she returned in 2016, her mental state had somehow gotten significantly worse. She started rambling about random conspiracy theories relating to everything from the child-free subreddit to the Pizzagate conspiracy and how it all relates to Lyme disease. Is their Life After Lyme had officially gone off the deep end, and her situation was getting worse with each passing day. By 2018, her posts had become completely unreadable. These nonsensical posts were occasionally interrupted by her disturbing cries for help as well, but she didn't respond coherently to anyone who reached out to her, which was extremely concerning for many. This went on till February 2019, after which she completely disappeared from the internet, leaving many to wonder what actually happened to her. However, some Reddit users weren't concerned at all, since in their eyes, the entire Is Their Life After Lyme account was nothing more than a clever hoax. And it's easy to see why. There were quite a few inconsistencies in her posting habits that hinted at the whole thing being fake. For instance, if she'd truly become incapable of stringing together a single coherent sentence, how was she able to operate a computer or phone enough to make these posts in the first place? Additionally, she also started making parts of her posts in other languages. But when people translated these other languages, they were generally written without any errors, even though the English portion of the same post was completely incomprehensible. However, before people were able to reach a conclusion about whether it was all real or not, someone claiming to be her sister logged into her account and told others she'd been hospitalized after an incident. If we assume the whole thing was fake from the start, it's possible the person behind the account noticed the skepticism and introduced the sister character to wrap up the story. On the other hand, if everything about Is Their Life After Lyme was genuine, this remains as one of the most haunting cases of mental deterioration archived on the internet.
I've never actually been on Reddit like that. Like I said, I created a Reddit thing for my channel, but like going on Reddit and like looking at feeds and stuff, I never actually done it, which is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's like, I don't know. These instances, the only one instant was with that family and the family dying. That was really sad and unfortunate. I think that was the most disturbing one. The other three, the last one, and then the other two with no type of evidence. It's like, you know, who am I to downplay what somebody's going through, you know? But I don't know. I gotta take it with a little bit of grain of salt since it is on the internet and niggas do like to troll on the internet. But yeah, but alright, y'all. I'm gonna end it here. Once again, this is 4 most disturbing Reddit accounts posted by Chilling Scares. Original video in the description. And since it is October, I will be trying to post all 31 days of October, or at least when it comes to like reacting to like horror stuff, because I know a lot of you guys do like you guys like the true crime stuff and the horror stuff that I do react to. So I'm gonna try to do it for 31 days. I think today is October 1st. I'm gonna post this the 2nd, so tomorrow, because my last Alien part comes out today, which is October 1st. I'm thinking about playing The Thing, because they have that on the PlayStation Store. That's the Atari one. I'm thinking about playing that because it's spooky. It's October. Everything's spooky. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. But all right, y'all, I'm going to end it here. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. Grass out.